Let's go to work. Great day, kings and queens. Yeah. Welcome to another conversation with Drew. This is a fantastic Friday. Yeah. You know, where it's an honor to serve my gift with you guys. It's such a blessing, man, to share this knowledge, wisdom, and experience, you know, that God has allowed me to obtain and acquire over the last, 32 years of my life. Yeah, through the experiences that he's allowed me to have, it's just such a blessing to be able to come before you guys, man. And if y'all been rocking with me, this entire week, we've been touching on topics like, what's in your bucket or what's underneath. And it's so amazing, man, when you really start to get this understanding and this concept, man. It begins to change your life. We've always heard that we were made in the image and likeness of God, but we really have not quite understood what that means. The image meaning like your spiritual nature and character, meaning like that's why nobody really ever had to tell you when you were doing wrong. It's like you innately knew when you were doing wrong. The likeness of God. What up, King? The likeness of God is meaning that, to operate and function like God, and God functions by faith. Faith is believing in something that you cannot see and then speaking it over and over and over until it come into existence. What up, Queen? And so, as you know, I was, praying to the Father this morning, speaking to me about what it is that, that we're going to get, into today. What's going on, Queen? We're going to get into this work about, who we are, who we truly are, and it's so hard for us to really grasp this concept because it's something that we haven't been taught. And the reason why we haven't been taught is because, the world does not want you to know the truth of who you are. When you know the truth of who you are, you function in greatness, you function like a real superhero does. And so, man, it's such a blessing to really, have this understanding. And so, if I was to have this is my, my water bottle, right? Let me just give you a visual real fast. I want y'all to go with me real fast. We're about to go up into the heavens real fast and get this work. If I had this water bottle, right, and in this water bottle, was all the components of life, right? And then I set a black cup, a brown cup, a yellow cup, a pink cup, a white cup down, right? And I began to pour the contents of this bottle out into each cup, right? What cup would be lacking what? Let me say that again. If I had this bottle right here, right? And this bottle had the contents of life, right? Everything that'll make you successful. I mean, joy, peace, love, long suffering, self-temperance, abundance, prosperity, ideas of wealth. If I had all of that, right, in that content in this bottle, right? And I set a black cup down, I set a brown cup down, I set a pink cup down, I set a yellow cup down, I set a white cup down, and I literally went and I poured the contents of this bottle into each cup, right? What cup would be lacking what? Nothing. Each cup will be as valuable as the bottle. Now, this bottle represents God. Each cup represents the body, and the contents represents the spirit. So if God poured out himself into every single human being, what human being is lacking God? The only human being that's lacking God is the one that's lacking the understanding and the relationship that's necessary to have in order to become the best version of yourself. God has poured himself out into each individual, into each realm, to each individual and to each person equally, right? And so when we look at life and we see all of this nonsense and all of this racism going on, and we've been taught and conditioned that the darker skin was not as valuable as the whiter skin, it's been a lie the whole time. Again, he poured himself out evenly into each and every individual, meaning that you have the fullness of God within you, meaning that you have the abundance of God in you. You have the prosperity of God in you. You have the wealth of God in you. You have the love of God in you. You have the power and the authority in God in you. Why? Because he said, I created you in my likeness and image, not in the image and idea of another man. So when I begin to understand this, I begin to do the research and I begin to really delve into the truth. Why? Because who you are is what's valuable in the earth. Not who somebody says you are, but who you are because of what God created you to do. He said, before I formed you, right? Before I formed you in the womb, right? I knew you. Somebody said they froze. Okay. I'm over here legit. It said, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Meaning that before I created you, before I sent you into the earth, before I put you into that earthen vessel, meaning that black cup, that brown cup, that yellow cup, that white cup, that pink cup, before I poured you out, before I poured my bottle out into the cup, You understand what I'm saying? Before I poured you out, I knew you. I knew exactly who you were. He said, before you were born, I sanctified you, meaning I set you apart. Meaning that before God ever created you and put his spirit, you, into the womb of your mother, he said, I knew you. I knew that I poured love in you. I knew that I poured wealth in you. I knew that I poured greatness in you. I knew that I poured self-temperance in you. I knew that I poured a future in you. Why? Because before I formed you, I knew you. So again, if the bottle pours his contents into a black cup, into a pink cup, into a yellow cup, into a white cup, you are not lacking anything. The only thing you're lacking is understanding of self. That's it. That's why we were touching on the topics of what's in your bucket or what's underneath, meaning that the things that we have been taught and conditioned to value, our eyes, our lips, our beards, our eyebrows, our hair, our purses, our shoes, our bodies have been a lie above all lies the whole entire time. Who you truly are, kings and queens, is what's underneath. And again, if God, the source, has poured himself out into the resources of earth, meaning that these earthen vessels, we're not lacking anything. The only thing you're lacking is a relationship with the Father that allows you to know who you truly are. He said, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you. For I know the plans that I have for you. He said, thoughts of good, not of evil. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. He said, to give you an expected end, or to give you a future and a hope. Because I created you to be a reflection of me in the earth realm. You have this much greatness inside of you. Why do y'all think that I come on here every single day and pour myself out? Why? Because I understand that the unlimited resource of the bottle keeps pouring and pouring and pouring into me, this earthen vessel. That's it. So that means that there's no possible way that I can't be great. There's no possible way that I can't accomplish greatness. There's no possible way that I cannot obtain wealth. There's no possible way that I cannot speak life into people. Why? He said, because the words that I speak to you are spirit and they give you life. Meaning that the only thing that'll cultivate each seed in you, the seed of greatness, the seed of prosperity, the seed of abundance, the seed of love, the seed of joy, the seed of peace. The only thing that can cultivate those things that are inside you, which is the real you, is the word. That's it. I tried it all. I've looked for it all. It did not work. I understand now that that's why, we heard the saying when we were growing up, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. See, the problem was that was somebody who was thinking from a natural perspective. They didn't know their real self. Their real self is a spirit man. So again, the contents that God is pouring out is who you really are. They didn't know their true self. And so because they said that, they allowed people to punch them in the face and they never cultivated the real them. Because when I understood the authority and power of words, think how many women have been called bitchs. Think how many women have been called hoes. Think how many dudes have been called niggers, or how many white guys have been called crackers and all of the above. And it was offensive. Why? Because it was a word. And in the beginning was the word, meaning that it established everything, and the word was with God, and the word was God. So everything that's ever been established on the earth has always started from an idea that came out as a word. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. That's the law. It ain't that something that I'm making up. And so therefore, who you are in your spirit is nothing but a combination of word. That's it. Your whole spirit, man, is made up of a combination of word. But these are seeds, though. Why? Because God never gives a finished product. So these are seeds that have to be cultivated. That's why it said when he put us in Eden, he put us in his presence to do what? To work and to tend, to work and protect, meaning to produce something, to become something, and then to protect that what we become. So this is why it's so important for you to get daily word inside of you. This is why it's so important for you to constantly read every single day. Why? Because the words that I speak to you are spirit and they give you life. So again, when the source poured himself out into a black cup, that black cup became him. When the source poured himself out into a brown cup, that brown cup became him. When the source poured himself out into a yellow cup, that yellow cup became him. When the source poured himself out into a pink cup, that pink cup became him. When the source poured himself out into a white cup, that white cup became him. So you're just as valuable as any other human being in this earth. Your value is not the color of your eyes. Let's talk about that, right? We've been conditioned to think that the green eye or the blue eye, you know what I mean, or the hazel eye is more beautiful than a dark eye. But in all actuality, those genes in those eyes are recessive, meaning that those genes in those eyes are weaker. That's why the darker the skin, it is able to withstand the rays of the sun. That's why the lighter the skin, it is unable to withstand the rays of the sun. We know the sun is the giver of life. It touches the plants, it touches the animals, it touches the things of the earth, and it gives it life. So why is it then that something that's darker can withstand it and something that's lighter can't? Why? Because what has become lighter is recessive, meaning that it has moved away from its original intent. It had moved away from its original form. So the lighter eye has never been more beautiful to God. It's been recessive, meaning it's been weaker. So I'm not for all of that belief that my eyes, because they're dark brown or black, meaning that they're weaker. No, my eyes are beautiful. That's why a woman who has naturally dark hair, when she bleaches her hair to get the blonde that everybody think is more attractive, it becomes weaker. It becomes damaged. It breaks off. Why? Because it has become recessive from the normal gene, from the strong gene. So don't try to tell me that because my hair is dark, my eyes are dark, and my skin is dark, that I'm weaker than any other individual or human in the earth. It doesn't matter what color, what race, what ethnicity, we're all one race. Why? Because when the source poured himself out into the black cup, when he poured himself out to the brown cup, when he poured himself out into the yellow cup, when he poured himself out into the pink cup, and when he poured himself out into the white cup, he said everybody is made in my image and likeness. Everybody is one. We are all one human race. It's just that the individuals in the earth who were weak needed to separate everybody to feel like they were somebody. That's it, kings and queens. But who God says that you are is what's important. And he said, before I formed you in the womb, meaning before I gave you the dark skin or the white skin, before I gave you the dark hair or the light hair, before I gave you the dark eyes or the light eyes, before I gave you the juicy lips or the small lips, before I gave you the wide nose or the small nose, he said, I knew you. And I sent you into the earth to represent me in the purest form that you can. But if you continue to focus on the natural, you will abuse the spiritual. And anytime the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. Let me say that again. Anytime the purpose of a thing is unknown, abuse is inevitable. That's why people are out here abusing their lives with jobs, with drugs, with women, with men, with all of the above, because they don't know the purpose of themselves. And until you know that you are a spirit being operating in a dirt suit that gives you legal authority in the earth, you will continue to abuse yourself. That's why I read daily. That's why I study daily. I had to study 3 scripts by the end of the week and memorize them. Let me go ahead and spat them out to you. Jeremiah 1:4-5. It says, and then the word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you and set you apart. I have ordained you to be a prophet to the nation. Jeremiah 29:11-13. It says, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of good, not of evil, to give you expected end. John 15:16 says, you did not choose me, but I chose you. He said, and ordained you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain. He said, and that whatever you ask the Father in my name, that he may give you. I had to learn these things. Why? Because the words that I speak to you are spirit, and they give you life. So just like I have to eat baked chicken and sweet potatoes and broccoli or turkey burgers with asparagus, just like I have to eat those things to give me these, slat out, to give me these, slat out, to give me these, slat out. In order for me to grow in my physical flesh, I have to feed it the right nutritional value, right? Well, in order for me to grow as a king, in order for me to be the individual that's made in the same image and likeness of God, I have to feed me word. That's why Christ said, man shall not live off of bread alone, but out of every what? Word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. This is truth. So you're saying, Drew, this sounds religious. This is not true. Okay, well, what is the answer to your spirit man growing? Why is it that you have the things that you want? You want the job, you got the job. You wanted the car, you got the car. You wanted the house, you got the house. But why is it when you are in the confines of your own home where no one's around, when you are no longer thinking about the car, the job, and the house, why is it that you are depressed? Why is it that you are lost? Why is it that you are unfulfilled? Why is it that you don't have true happiness? Why is it that you don't have peace in your home? Because the spirit man of who you really are, kings and queens, is underdeveloped. This is the importance of studying. This is the importance of reading books. This is the importance of getting that knowledge inside of you. Why? Because the words that I speak to you are spirit. You are a spirit. And the only thing that can give the spirit life is a word. That's it. That's it, kings and queens. I'm telling you right now, I have done the research. I have done the studying. I have looked this stuff up. I have gone up. I have gone down. I had lifted up. I had put it down. I went around. I went the other way. I'm telling you right now, this is the key. This is the key. Because what happens, right? When that voice keeps saying to you that you'll never make it, that you are weak, that you have nothing inside of you, that you are done, that you are going to die. What happens then? You have to have something to combat that. Man, listen, I'm not the only one that have heard them words before. I'm not the only one, you know what I mean, that has been discouraged or have been depressed or, you know what I mean, have been down before. I'm not the only one. The thing that helped me combat that is when I heard the words, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of good, not of evil, thoughts to prosper you, not to harm you, to bring you to an expected end, to give you a future and a hope. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I set you apart before you were born. When I hear those words, that's what gives me that strength to stand back up. Like, you know what, man? I'm good. You know what I mean? They had me a little bit, slapped me around a little bit. You know what I mean? Gave me a few black eyes, but I'm good because I understand that God said, I am God and I'm God alone. I'm God. There's no one beside me. He said, because I'm the only one that's able to set the end from the beginning, meaning that God finished your life. He finished your purpose. He finished your destiny before he gave you birth. And because I know that, that's what keeps me going when it seems like nothing is happening. That's what keeps me going and keep me motivated and keep me encouraged. Listen, what am I doing physically on here? What am I doing physically on here? Nothing. But why are you paying attention to this? Because of the words. That's how powerful the words are. You're tuning in to hear words. You ain't tuning in to see me dance. You ain't tuning in to see me do backflips. You ain't tuning in to see me work out. You ain't tuning in to see me run around. You ain't tuning in to see me have sex. You ain't tuning in to see me do nothing physical. You're tuning in because the words that I speak to you are spirit and they give you life. You are that valuable, kings and queens, but if you never add value to you, you cannot become the invaluable one that God placed inside of you, because he placed seeds of love in you. He placed seeds of peace. He placed seeds of joy. He placed seeds of prosperity. He placed seeds of wealth. He placed those seeds in you. Why? Because he wants you to do some work. Because if he just gave you the fullness of love, the fullness of joy, the fullness of abundance, the fullness of prosperity, the fullness of everything that we need, that we can potentially and possibly become, if he did that, then what would we need God for? We'll walk through everything and we'll believe that we are truly God and we won't need him. And that's not life. Think about it. The car that you're driving, it needs the manufacturer. Why? Because if there's a problem that goes on with that car, it needs to go back to the manufacturer. The manufacturer didn't create the car to become the manufacturer. The manufacturer created a car with a purpose, and he created the best product that he can possibly create at that time, and then he sent it into the earth to be used. But the car is not the manufacturer. It's a piece of it. And so again, if the source pours himself out into a black cup or a brown cup or a pink cup or a yellow cup or a white cup, we are peace. So I can't make you the fullness of me, because then there would be no me. But you are a lowercase g God. You are. Go read Psalms 82:6. You are a lowercase g God. He said to the Jews when they were about to stone Jesus Christ, he said, didn't I write to you in your word? He said, didn't I say to you that you two are gods? Why? Because you came from God to be great. My fault, y'all. I'm over here getting blown up. You know what I mean? I'm a little famous now. You understand me? No, I'm just playing. But seriously, you know that you have God inside of you. You have everything that you're supposed to be inside of you. But you have to cultivate that. You can no longer dress it up anymore. You can no longer make it up anymore. I don't care how many Mac little round things, I don't know what they call it, how many little Mac joints you got. I don't care how many Mac lipsticks and eyeliner you have. I don't care how many haircuts and lineups that you get. I don't care how many $250 bottle colognes that you spray on. I don't care how many red bottoms you got in your closet. I don't care how many Michael Kors and Gucci's and Fendi bags you have. I don't care about all of that. I don't care how many cars you own. I'm telling you right now, in order to become the greatest version of yourself, in order for you to become the greatest version of yourself, you have to pour in word. Because that's what you're made out of. Period, point blank. What has everything in the earth started with? It started with an idea. What did that idea become? It became a word. Mercedes. It started out as an idea. I want to make the most luxurious car on the earth. And then it came out as a word. What would we call it? We would call it Mercedes. And then the next step was what? To go into production. So then they started creating the idea and writing it down. There was no physical car called a Mercedes before. And they started writing it down and they went into production. Well, what pieces do we make in order to make it luxurious? And so they began to form this amazing specimen of a car. And then it came into fruition. But where did it start with? It started with a thought and it started with the word. So you becoming the best version of yourself, it starts with a thought that you can believe that you can. And then it starts with the word that has to be poured in. Faith comes by hearing. Hearing what? The word. I never read the Bible my entire life. I always thought when I seen King James that, man, that was the same King James that they was talking about in the Willie Lynch letter. So I never ever thought to read the Bible like, man, that can't be God. God said, man, I'm God. If anybody has altered my word, I will give you what it is that you need out of that word. Well, how is it that Andrew Clayborn has got to the place that he is? Because I started studying that word. I took heed to the voice of God and I started listening to him. And I start hearing him. And he said, in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. And the word became flesh, and it dwelt among men. There is no way that you cannot have that word inside of you to become the best version of yourself. I don't care who you are. I don't care how successful you become. You say, well, what about my gift? A gift and calling is without repentance, meaning that you can go and be great and serve your gift to the earth. But that don't mean that you'll become the best version of yourself if you do not have the fullness of God inside of you. Period. It changed my life. So when you are, again, rich out of all riches in the world, right? And then you are sitting in your room on the best bed, on the best sheets that you can possibly sit on the best mattress that you can possibly buy, with the baddest female laying beside you, or the most handsome, attractive man laying beside you, and you are dealing with you, what then do you do? The only thing that you can do is fill yourself up with the word. Why? Because the contents that's in this bottle is word. And that content, that source, chose to pour himself out into a black cup, into a brown cup, into a pink cup, into a yellow cup, into a white cup. Meaning that each one of those cups are not the real matter. The real truth is what he poured in. And he poured equally into every single race. He poured equally into every single man. And what I'm saying to you today, kings and queens, is the value that you have is inside of you. It's underneath. It's in that bucket. And if you never pour in what will cultivate you, what cause you to be the greatest version of yourself, you will not become that. I can't lie to you. I can't give you some fluff. I can't motivate you and not give you the truth. The truth is that what changed Andrew Clayborn is that after I was evicted out of my home and I was broke down to my knees and I was hitting my nuts with a sledgehammer that broke me down, that humbled me, what I did is I went to the word. I went to the word for the first time. And I really began to pour myself, and I found out who I was. That's like if you are a Mercedes-Benz, why the heck would you go to BMW and try to ask them, what am I supposed to do in the earth? It don't make sense. If you are an iPhone owner, why would you then go to Samsung and ask them, how am I supposed to work? It don't make sense. So if you are a child of God, if you are a recreation of God, if you are a reflection of God, if you are a product of God, why the heck have you not gone to him and asked him how you are supposed to work? Or why are you here? Or how am I supposed to function? It don't make sense. You can go to Buddha if you want. You can go to Muhammad if you want. You can go to Baha'u'llah all you want. I'm telling you now, you ain't made in none of their images. There's only one, the source, Abba, the Father, the source and the sustainer, the progenitor of life, the one who's all in all, the Alpha and the Omega, the Almighty, the Kings of Kings, the Lord of Lords, Elohim. You understand me? Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha. You understand me? Go to him, and I'm telling you right now, you'll find out the true self. You'll find out who you truly are. And when I did that, my life changed forever. The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they give you life. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless y'all. As y'all can hear, it's raining out here, man. It's whack, man. I don't understand. You know, we need some sunlight, but he was just showing me that something needed to be watered today. So apparently it was some souls. So he letting it rain down. You understand me? Y'all had to get this work. Yeah, you understand me? But remember, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Because we do this every day, not to impress people, but to leave an impression on the earth. Remember, if the source poured himself out into you, it don't matter if you black, brown, yellow, pink, white, it does not matter. You have the fullness of him in you. So begin to cultivate the seeds and you'll become the greatest version of yourself. I love you. The word is in you. Produce it. Peace.